Well, hello and welcome to the second edition of the Headsticks Show. An absolute pleasure to be here in front of you to present this second show. The first one was so well received. Thanks so much for all the positive comments, all the emails and the messages. It did mean the world and it helped me to get through this difficult time. Honestly, it keeps me busy. And also massive thanks to my son, Sonny, for putting it all together for me and for putting up with me, to be quite honest with you. It does mean the world. So this is episode 2. We're going to dig into the archives for you, see what we can find. Hopefully we'll keep you interested. We've got some really interesting stuff. First, I've got to say, as I said before when I started the last show, please do make sure that you stay safe and well and that you do stay home. We can do this, we can get through it together, and we know that we will. There's some very important people that I want to raise a little glass to, if that's all right, and that's all the NHS staff, all the key workers as well, and that's whether they working in supermarkets or the delivery people, the postman, everyone you can think of. We should all get a little tot and raise a glass to them. And also this is for all those who've lost the battle so far, the ones that are no longer with us. This is for them and all their families too. So let's raise a toast. Cheers. Whoa. Now then, I'm going to start the show with the first video. This was filmed by Ian Cassidy at Strummer Camp. This is called My Own War, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that after. This is called My Own War.
It is okay not to be okay, and it's alright not to be alright. So let's just be there for each other. This is called My Own War, and it's for all you beautiful people. Goes like this. What would you say if I told you that I'm fighting my own war? What would you say? Would you tell me that you've heard all before? What would you say if I told you that the battle is never won? What would you say if I told you that? Would you stand with me? Tell me, would you run? With a thought smile could hide in front of pain. With a thought that laughter was not thinly these skies vile. With a thought kind word could be the catalyst. With a thought that half the back of it stronger to resist. There's a hurricane in my head tonight, a tornado in my heart. Lashes of relentless rain cutting me apart. The grill is made of biting cold, damnness and the light. The rain and house of water by me, these are lies. These endless bloody nights. Who would have thought it? 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 What would you say if I told you that they're fighting their own wars? What would you say? Would you tell me that you've heard all before? What would you say if I told you that the battle is never won? What would you say if I told you that? Would you stand with them? Would you take their hands? Tell me, would you run? There's a hurricane in my head tonight, a tornado in my heart. There's flashings of relentless rain cutting me apart. The grill has been a blinding cold, damnness and the blight. Pain and house of water binding these and love. These endless bloody nights. These endless bloody nights. These endless bloody nights. Who'd have thought it? Who would have thought it? Who'd have thought it? Who would have thought it? Who'd have thought it? Who would have thought it? Who'd have thought it? Who would have thought it?
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was filmed at Strummer Camp, and as I say, it was a song called My Own War. With that in mind, I want to just tell you about these wristbands that we've got, which you can get from our website. Every penny raised from these goes to charities relating to mental health. As things stand, we've raised about £1,100, and I'm hoping to get the money out actually this week, and I will let you know where it's gone to the various charities. We're going to send it to 3 different charities, and we're going to keep going with these. So if you haven't got one, get yourself one of these. It is okay not to be okay. It's all right not to be all right. Just remember that. Now then, I've got to talk about questions. We asked some questions. We asked you for questions, I should say, and we've got some brilliant questions come through this time. So I'm going to ask. I'm going to do the first question. This comes from Spike Foster. Spike, how are you doing, brother? All right. Would you be able to do as much gigging as you do without the beautiful Lady Sarah behind you? You need to get her to make an appearance on the next show. Now, Sarah's a bit camera shy, and I think unless she's had a bottle of Jack Daniels, that's not going to happen. So I'll see what I can do, but the answer is yeah, without Lady Sarah, there's no way they'll be able to do as much as I do, and I think that goes the same for the other guys in the band. I know that our good ladies are all very supportive of what we do, so we've got to thank them for that. So Lady Sarah, Lady Sazzo, Shazza and Gwen, you are stars. Thank you very much for letting us do what we do. Another question here. This is from David Evans, and he asks, what's the likelihood of you headlining a festival at the Britannia Stadium to raise money for the NHS? Well, just to play at a fundraiser for the NHS would be wonderful. Never mind headlining anywhere, never mind the Britannia Stadium, the Stoke City's home stadium, of course, which holds about 25,000 people, but it would be brilliant to have something like that happening, and if we were asked, we'd take part, no questions about it, and we hope that you lot would be there with us as well. I'm sure you would. Right, I think before we go any further, I think it's time for another little video, and this one's filmed at Root Rocks. This one's called Two Sides. It's one that we often start the sets with, particularly when we've got a longer set, and it's taken from Muster, which was the first full-length LP that we did. So as I say, this is called Two Sides. If you know it, join in. If you don't know it, join in.
Some money in my pocket for the first time in my life. Money can't buy you everything, and money can't buy us time. I feel the storm clouds blowing, hear the thunder clear and loud. I don't want to shake my head or grow a beard, don't want to join the banding crowd. But there's two sides to every bloody story. There's two versions of every rebel song. God knows the old song simply ain't worth singing anymore. The story festers on and on and on. The story festers on and on and on. We're gonna keep the whole place burning. Smell the rubber, smell the tar. The filthy clouds and they billow, north, south, east, west apart. The savage winds they're blowing, they're tearing at my skin. The acid rain, it licks my wounds for it's never again. Come on. And there's two sides to every bloody story. There's two versions of every rebel song. God knows the old song simply ain't worth singing anymore. Story festers on and on and on. Story festers on and on and on. There's rumors in the city of Berlin and of Madrid, of London and in Paris. Well, there's an international parade of ignorance and hatred, of bitter and cold denial. But they just want to party there like it's 1939. There's two sides to every bloody story. There's two versions of every rebel song. God knows the old song simply ain't worth singing anymore. Story festers on and on and on. Story festers
Well then, I hope you enjoyed that one. That was Two Sides, which was recorded at Root Rocks, which is a wonderful place run by Amber and Neil Sanderson up in Root near Doncaster. An amazing place, and they put their gigs on basically to be able to engulf their own beautiful family into the world of music and into this festival scene. And what a great way of doing things. If you get the chance to go up to Root Rocks for any of the gigs, honestly, they're superb, so well attended, incredible. They're doing a great job. Well done, Amber and Neil. Right, we've got a load of questions. We've had a load sent in. Loads are sensible. It's all unnerving that you've all gone sensible on us. The first one comes from Julie Warwick Murray, and she asks, Andrew Tranter. Yes, Julie. You know, one of my all-time favourites is Cold, the Clay Faces version. Was there ever a video? Or Mission Bell Kiss? Well, the answer to that is no. The only video for the Clay Faces we played on the last show, which was Football on the TV. As you know, Cold actually was originally a Jugger Punch song, which was a band before Clay Faces. We still have a few of those albums left there, so if you do want to hear the original version of Cold, it is on this very album. You can get that on the website. We've got a few of those left. And while I'm mentioning that, I should have mentioned last week, we also do have a few videos, a few CDs left of the Tower Struck Down, which we featured on the last show as well, featuring Nick on bass, Tower Struck Down. So if you're looking to complete the collection, they're available, as I say, on site. Right, next question comes from Eddie Bentley. Eddie, how are you, Squire? I hope you're keeping well. He asks how we all met. This is really, really long-winded, and I'll try and keep it down to a brief little story. So myself and Doom were working together, landscaping. I'd gone off to a wedding in Ireland, came back, having sung with a band for the first time in Ireland. I'd got up at my cousin Maireadh's wedding, Hello Maireadh, and sung the Old Triangle and a couple of other of Irish classic songs, and absolutely buzzing from it. Said to Steve, Doom, do you fancy putting together a bit of an Irish band? He jumped at the chance. We went out with Steve's brother and we formed a band with a couple of other members later called Jugger Punch. And that's then became the Clay Faces as we started to do more and more of our own material. We got away from all the Irish standards such as the Irish Rover and the Fields of Athenry. We'd done them a million times. We were out 3, 4, 5 times a week for 7 years. We formed the Clay Faces, doing more of our own stuff. And from that, we played a good chunk of festivals, but it did come to an end. It wasn't possibly the happiest time musically for myself, the Clay Faces, and it did come to an end. So we had a couple of years off, and then I said to Doom, would you fancy doing a little bit of stuff again? And we started writing a few songs to go out and do as a duo. We had no name, just went out as Andrew Tranter and Stephen Dunn, and we did open mics around Stoke and Newcastle under Lyme area, just basically trying out a few songs. Unexpectedly, we landed a support slot at the Sugar Mill, which is a fantastic local venue, and we were asked to support Seth Lakeman and his band as they were touring, and this was sometime early 2012, I do believe. And we've managed to dig out a video of this. Now, just to put you right, we didn't go out as Headsticks that night. We went out as the following. We went out as In Search of Mad Carew, the one and only gig we did as In Search of Mad Carew. And here's a song which actually made it onto Headsticks' first album, Muster. Here's a song called The Teenage Widow from the Sugar Mill. See what you think to this one.
We are In Search of Mad Carew. Thanks for understanding. Cheers. Away you see her, and they might recognise, but on the radio it seems like 1,000 times. Her name of Trevor's anger, but horror and a prayer. A town which now can never sleep, the high road of despair. Oh, cried out. We're all crying Irish widow, eyes red eyes burning dry. She has no tears left to cry. She has no tears left to cry. See the teenage widow, see her eyes flutter as a crime. See the hearts and the limousine, see them as they cry. See the broken mother, see the flowers flutter as they fly. See the mother, suck up a lip, dividing tears of pain. We're all crying out. We're all crying out. See the teenage widow, eyes red, eyes burning dry. She has no tears left to cry. She has no tears left to cry. Oh, when will these people once again be left to sleep? Oh, when will this sleepy town once again be left to sleep? Oh, when will these graces and the towns of ivory open their wretched eye? When will these blind fools see? We're all crying out. We're all crying out. But see the teenage widow, eyes red, eyes burning dry. She has no tears left to cry. She has no tears left to cry. She has no tears left to cry. Thanks very much. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
So how about that one then? All the way back from early 2012 from the Sugar Mill. That was In Search of Mad Carew, Doon and myself, our first gig really. Other than that, it'd just been open mics. From that then, just to build it up as to how we all met, from that, myself and Stephen had decided to do open mics and to try and build a band around us. So we started to put together an event which used to happen monthly at a beautiful little venue called the Old Brown Jug in Newcastle under Lyme, called Song Club. And we used to invite various local musicians to come and do a stint, to come and play 20 minutes or so. We'd have a headliner, if you like, so we'd have maybe 4 or 5 guests on. We would open the night, myself and Stephen, and we'd finish the night, but we'd also have a headline act to do a sort of 40-minute session as opposed to a 15 or 20-minute session. One of those nights, we brought along a gentleman by the name of Phil Maddox, absolutely wonderful singer-songwriter from the Congleton area. Well, that's where he lived at the time. Phil came along. Unfortunately, we had a major problem where we'd been let down a little bit due to illness, and we had no sound engineer that night. So we let Phil know, and he said, it's not a problem, I'll bring my friend with me. That friend happened to be a gentleman by the name of Nick Bays. Nick Bays, indeed. Now, Nick came along with Phil, did a wonderful job on the sound engineering, and he was very taken with what myself and Doon did. And no matter what he says, every time we do a song, he'd walk to the front and he'd go, tune. Anyway, soon after that, he asked us to do an event up at Keele University, whereby he wanted us to play with other musicians, an outdoor event that he was running up there. And on that very day that we went and played, Nick asked us if we were looking for a bass player, which was music to our ears. I'd followed Tower Struck Down, Nick's previous band, for years, and it was an absolute honour for Nick to ask. So it was like, yeah, please. So Nick came along, joined us. So that was 3 of us. Tom, our current drummer, was also drumming with Doon in another band a band called Dirty Money, who were a bit of a sort of reggae, ska, dub band, and we persuaded Tom to come along, and that was how the four of us met. But before I go any further, I'm going to let you have a listen to what Phil Maddox does. And interestingly enough, this is Phil accompanied by our Nick on bass, and this is filmed at Fat Pigeon over at Audlam. So have a little listen to this one, see what you think. Here's Phil and Nick.
Rain, thunder, blue, blue, sky and sun. All the young men love you, the older guys can't run. Boys will never have you, there is little doubt that the old man staring at you always feel left out. As I gaze at you so longingly, prison for the things I did, desperate to be free. Don't want to get violent, fight them for your love. I just gotta see you, baby, I don't get out much. I had a dream that you and me were free to walk this land, and you had time to see that I'm no more than just a complicated man. Daylight dims, darkness falls. It all looks the same to me from inside prison walls. I pray for one breath of fresh air. Well, I think of you, I call your name. Hope that you still care. Do you still care? I had a dream that you and me were free to walk this land. You had time to see that I'm no more than just a complicated man. Complicated, incarcerated, and searching for that shiny golden key. Lonely as hell in this cold cell. Oh, mercy, won't somebody set me free? Yeah. Come on, come on, come on, come on, set me free. As I gaze at you so longingly, face behind these prison bars, there's no respite for me. Dreams are all I have now, running out of time. Oh, this jailer's gonna kill me, won't stop me from trying. Oh, this jailer's gonna kill me, won't stop me from trying. Oh, this jailer's gonna kill me, and it won't stop me from trying.
So that was Phil and Nick. Hope you enjoyed that one. Right, if you take a little look at this poster, you might notice something interesting. You'll see that said Phil Maddox, is actually on this poster in a Headsticks photo, and you might wonder, well, what's going on there? Well, Phil actually joined Headsticks for a few gigs. I think it was 3 gigs. Certainly one in Bradford, one in Lancaster, and one in Manchester at the start in Garter. But unfortunately, Phil was suffering from ill health, so it was just a short stint of gigs. But it was great to have him, and who's to say? Maybe one day, we don't know. It could happen again. If you get the chance to see Phil, do so. Go and see him, and do check out his website and his Facebook page. He's not only a lovely fella, but he's an incredible performer. So hopefully it's a new one to some of you out there. Now, also on that post, you might notice another name, Trent Vale Poet. Now, the Trent Vale Poet is an absolute enigma. I've got to say, unfortunately, was an absolute enigma. TVP, Mark Bailey, unfortunately passed away. He died of cancer. And he'd been with us right through the Jugger Punch and Clay Faces and early Headsticks days. He used to come and open up for us, and if we were doing an all-day event or an evening event, he would be MC for the night, and he was just an incredible talent and genuinely a fellow that I miss so much. So much wisdom from this gentleman, and always a pleasure to be around, and one I like to rib a little bit, and he liked to rib me back. We had some good times together. This is what the poet does. Have a little listen to this one. I was born in Fenton, the Trent Vale Poet. See what you think.
I were born in Fenton, and there I'll get me pension. I'll not stray, I'll always stay, 'cause I were born in Fenton. I went school in Fenton, I had the cane, I got detention. I'll not leave, I'll live, I'll breathe the giddy air of Fenton. I were wed in Fenton to a girl from Fenton. We had a kid, we named him Sid. Bastard moved to Longton.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. An absolute legend, the Trent Vale Poet, Mr. Mark Bailey. I think it's only right that we raise a toast to Mark and also all our dearly departed friends that are no longer with us. So this is to Mark. Oh, I'm enjoying this far too much. Sarah's going to go mad as well because this is her Jack Daniel's Fire. So I'll put that over there out of the way for now. Now then. Loads of questions. I'm going to do 3 quick fire questions in a row and let the boys answer these as well as myself. So the first question comes from Lee Campbell from Vomit. Lee, how are you? If you've not seen Vomit, go and see Vomit. They are a wonderful band. Absolute great set of lads. Go and see Vomit wherever you can. Lee asks, who was the first band you saw and where was your first gig? So that's the first question. Tony Smedley from Angel Promotions, absolute top people are Angel Promotions, Tony and Dean. So this is Tony. Who do you guys pay to see? And the third question, Lee Page. Which bands do you listen to nowadays? So similar questions. So here we go. Here's Tom's answers.
The first band I ever saw live was, I went to see Paul Weller with my mum. She was a big fan of the Style Council, and we went to go and see his solo show, but he had a band, so that was that. And the first gig I played would have been like some village hall somewhere in Cheadleway in a really terrible pop punk covers band on bass. And the first proper venue I played was the Rigger, which is one of my favourites. The bands that I listen to are various. So the last album I listened to all the way through was a Tom Misch album, because I'm excited about the album he's releasing with Yusuf Days, which is out in like 2 weeks or something. I've pre-ordered that, I can't wait. The bands that I paid to go and see live are very varied. Last band I went to see was Lewis Cole. I went there with Dune. That's like crazy, funky, jazzy, weird music. Check it out.
Here's Nick's answers.
Who was the first band I saw live? That was the Ian Gillan Band at Victoria Hall in Hanley, December 1981, the Double Trouble Tour. When was my first gig? My first gig would have been about 1983, 83 maybe. I was about 14, something like that, at a youth club on the High Town in Crewe, playing the bass for a band called Organised Chaos. Who do I pay to see? As the crisis broke, I'd got tickets for From the Jam, Boomtown Rats, Stranglers and Alanis Morissette, all in the diary. Fingers crossed. And who do I listen to? Well, I do lots of session work, so I have to listen to lots of different things for work. At the moment, it's Billy Joel. Lots of Billy Joel at the moment.
Here's Dune's answers.
First gig was Monsters of Rock at Donington Park, and AC/DC were the headliners. First gig I played would have been at my high school. Last gig that I paid to see was Lewis Cole at Band on the Wall in Manchester. And don't really listen to any one particular band or bands at the moment, just whatever's on Six Music.
And here's my answers, and I'm going to take a little bit longer because I'm doing the show, so I decide what happens. So, Lee, who was the first band you saw, and when was your first gig? Well, actually, my first gig was the same as Nick's first gig, Ian Gillan, the Ian Gillan Band at the Victoria Hall in Hanley. First gig for myself was with Jugger Punch as a three-piece, which was at the opening of the Victoria Hall in Hanley in the foyer outside. It was an open day, and it was a bit of a weird sort of thing. I'd never done a gig in my life, and it was great fun. Who do you guys pay to see? Well, easiest thing for me to do with that one is just to tell you who I've most recently bought tickets for. Slaves, unfortunately that was cancelled, but I'd pay to see them any day of the week. Boston Preachers, great fun, good friends, lovely folks. And the Interrupters, went to see the Interrupters in December, they were phenomenal. So that's my three. And which bands do you listen to nowadays? Well, listen to New Model Army anyway, listen to Hawkwind anytime, Interrupters, Slaves, Idols, it's Eels, still listen to Eels, it's endless what I listen to, it really is. Kate Rusby, still put the Clancy Brothers on, still listen to the Dubliners, the Pogues. It really is endless, so hopefully that answers those questions. Right then, another question, and this one comes from Andy Brooks. I'm gonna have a little tot in Andy's honour. Liking this. I'm gonna have another little cheeky one. This is for all you sending these wonderful questions in. Lovely stuff. Andy asks, is the new album on hold? Like everything else at the moment. Unfortunately, it really is on hold. We got quite far down the line in terms of demos. We've got a certain amount of songs, and we've got demos that we're happy with. We've got 3 or 4 songs that we're just tweaking, and then we were ready to go, and we'd actually got time booked in at the recording studio to record the new album. Obviously, that's had to stop. The moment directives change, we will be in the studio at the very, very first opportunity to carry on with our work, and hopefully you'll like what we've done. It's a little bit different. Again, we've not tried to follow any formula. Again, we've just done it as it's happened. It's quite organic. The songs are quite organic, and hopefully, as I say, you'll enjoy what we do. Let's have another little video because I'm getting a little bit tipsy. This is a video for called Grey English Skies, and this is the actual video that we filmed, the studio version, if you like. See what you think to this one. Cold Grey English Skies. Sing along, take the roof off. Cold Grey English Skies.
Dead-end streets, begging for some coppers to buy something to eat. The sun, it never shines in the shadow of the fat cat's greed. All he ever dreams of is a warm bed and a bloody good feed. All he ever dreams of is a warm bed and a bloody good feed. Feeling down, feeling agitated. Maybe it's time this town was painted. Paint it red, paint it red, paint it red, maybe one last time. So paint it red, paint it red, paint it red, maybe one last time. Feeling down, feeling agitated. Maybe it's time that this town was painted. Paint it red, paint it red, paint it red, maybe one last time. Paint it red, paint it red, paint it red, maybe one last time. Under cold grey English skies, see the roses as they wither and they die. On the cold grey English skies, See the roses as they wither and they die. In the darkness of an alley, she swallows her pride. A few quid in her pocket helps to stem the flowing tide. It's the price she's got to pay, that's a child and a habit to be fed. On the other side of town lies a child cold and lonely in her bed. It's the price she's got to pay, that's a child and a habit to be fed. Feeling down, feeling agitated. Maybe it's time that this town was painted. Paint it red, paint it red, paint it red, maybe one last time. So paint it red, paint it red, paint it red, maybe one last time. Feeling down, feeling agitated. Maybe it's time that this town was painted. Red, paint it red, maybe one last time. So paint it red, maybe one last time. On the cold grey, endless skies, see the roses as they wither and they die. On the cold grey, endless skies, see the roses as they wither and they die. On the cold grey, endless skies, on the cold grey, endless skies, on the cold grey, endless skies, on the cold grey, endless skies. Standing on the corner of a dead-end street, begging for some coppers to buy something to eat. The sun, it never shines in the shadow of the fat cat's greed. But all he ever dreams of is a warm bed and a bloody good feed. The sun, it never shines in the shadow of the fat cat's greed. The sun, it never shines in the shadow of the fat cat's greed. The sun, it never shines in the shadow of the fat cat's greed.
Well then, it's competition time. The Headsticks Show, part 2, competition time. Now, rather than just doing caption competition this time, we've asked for something a little bit different. Misheard lyrics. Now, we had loads of suggestions. A lot of them weren't even Headsticks songs, so I don't know what planet you lot were on, but we were asking for Headsticks ones, so any of you that put in suggestions that weren't Headsticks songs, off you go. Right, the first one is from Cold Grey English Skies, funnily enough. This comes from Isabel Calante. All he ever dreams of is a wombat and a bloody good feed. Really? Fair enough. Have a look at this. That's brilliant work from Kevin Pearson. You'll know Kevin, a lot of you will, from the festival scene, from Vagrant Art. These are the sort of things he normally does. But he's done some brilliant cartoon work for us. The second one, also brilliant, and also from Cold Grey English Skies. Both of you are getting a prize, by the way, a goodie bag. This comes from Stuart Butler, from Cold Grey English Skies. On the other side of town, there's a child and a rabbit to be fed. Really, Stuart? Have a look at this, see what you think. Right, another question. This is, again, a little bit more serious. David Evans, I once saw the Pixies at the Victoria Hall in Hanley. Who was the best band or artist you have ever seen on home soil? Nick.
Real Big Fish at the Sugar Mill in Stoke.
Doom.
Caius, the Wheat Sheaf in Stoke.
Right, well, I'm going to take it a little bit longer. Now, I'm having 3, maybe 4. First of all, my first gig, Gillen, incredible. When you've only ever seen Spinners and the Brighouse and Rastrick Brass Band, Gillen was something a little bit different. But also 2 gigs in quick succession. I think they were the week after each other. The Cramps at the Victoria Hall, A Date with Elvis tour. Pill, their album tour. Absolutely incredible gigs. And then a recent one. So, yeah, 4. A recent one, King Kurt at the Underground. Incredible. Brought back a lot of memories, and this was in November last year. Absolute beautiful chaos. So King Kurt, so there's 4 for you. Right then, so another question, and another very serious one. And this is from Isabel Clancy. It's very much becoming the Isabel Clancy show, so I think we should raise a glass to Isabel Clancy. Isabel travels to watch us all the way from Hamburg. So Isabel, this one's for you. Very, very Moorish. Right, which band or artist does every one of you wish he'd seen live but never had the chance? Doom.
Prince.
Tom's answer.
I wish I'd seen Jeff Buckley live.
Nick.
I've been lucky enough to see loads of my heroes, but maybe David Bowie.
Now my answer. I've got to say it's the king, Elvis Presley. I just wish I could get the chance to see Elvis Presley. Other than that, it would be Joe Strummer, but with the Clash. But I got to see Joe with the Mescaleros, and for me, the Mescaleros, dare I say it, I don't know if this is against the law to say this, but I prefer the Mescaleros music with Joe to the Clash. Shoot me now. So there we go. I forgot to mention the sales pitch. If you want to support the band at a time when we can't get out there and gig, the best way to do it is simply buy merchandise. If you don't want to buy merchandise, that's fine. We partook in the We Shall Overcome Isolation Festival this last weekend. Send your money there if you want to. If you want to support the band directly, then listen, buy some merchandise maybe. I'm going to run you through the entire, in chronological order, the entire CD collection, just so you know. So, I've already mentioned these two. Jugger Punch, Where Are We Now? And I've got to point out that when this was reviewed in Fruits, Folk Roots, the Bible of the folk music scene, Where Are We Now, it read, in the dole queue, if there's any justice in this world, say nothing. That was then followed by this. Tower Struck Down, which features Nick on bass. All the King's Men, that's available on the site. Play Faces, and the word was love, that's available on our site. Then when it came down to Headsticks, we kicked off with an EP which included Flatline Town, Are You Feeling Great Britain, which is your only opportunity to get hold of that song that's not on any album, and Paper Flowers. And also the Flatline Town and Paper Flowers versions are different to the versions that appeared on albums later. Debut album, Headsticks Muster. Followed by Feather and Flame. Now then, followed by, and I forgot to mention this in the last show and I got shouted at, we brought out a live album called Underdogs, which was recorded at the Rigger, one of our favourite venues in the world in Newcastle-under-Lyme. And it was called Underdogs because we supported Ferocious Dog that night. It's a live recording, you'll hear your voices on there if you were there. And at the same time we brought out a 10-inch red vinyl EP called Lies, Lies, Lies. So there you go, it's beautiful. And then last year we followed it up with Kept in the Dark, which was available on CD with this beautiful little booklet thing going on. Look at that, absolute 32 pages of beautifulness. And we also did it as a double vinyl LP with splatter effect, which was pretty stunning, to be honest. Our albums, each one of the 3 studio albums, all got #1 album in various publications. Just saying. If you haven't got them, get them and fill your collection up with all the other bits and pieces too. There's also t-shirts, hoodies, patches, beanie hats, all sorts of stuff on our website shop. Right, we've really got to wrap things up now. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you for the second edition of the Headsticks Show. I hope you've enjoyed what we've done. It's been an absolute pleasure, as I say, to put it together. Will there be a third edition? That's down to you. We'll see what you've got to say about it. Listen, stay safe, stay well, stay as positive as you can, and stay at home. And make sure you get yourself a lockdown haircut. It is so important that you do that. We're going to leave you with You're Killing Me, America. We'll see you soon. Take care.
So this is called You're Killing Me, America. Wistful, thank you very much. We love you all. We really do. Thank you.